welcome. This will be number 3 session, and let's see. For this one, we were talking about the achievements of the Mayans, the Mayan culture. Let's see, menu. I'll try the slideshow with this. So we can talk about the Maya had a great achievement in writing. They created the first writing system, the only writing system there was in all the Native American groups in the continent that we know of. Probably the Incas had it with the Incas, with the Southern American civilizations with the quipus and stuff. But there's not enough information about that. The writing system, as I said, is a great achievement. The architectural stuff, when the Europeans arrived to this continent, the tallest pyramid that the Maya had was an equivalent to 40-story building. And this happened in Guatemala, in one of the pyramids that was featured there, La Tigra, and one of and the amazing thing is that this pyramid was built before Christ. And by the time the Europeans came, none of the European buildings will be higher than that. And even in the Americas, you had to wait like 100 years for a building to reach that height or more. So the Mayas built the highest building in the continent for thousands of years before the Europeans arrived. So it's a great achievement in architectural engineering, And so I want to talk about these other areas of the Mayan civilization because people might focus on the calendar, but where this comes from is a very complex civilization. The Mayan calendar is the more complex calendar in the whole planet, so whole humanity. How did this all begin? Well, science also. Navigation, this is one thing that we forget about it. The Maya were capable of navigating and were the best sailors in this continent when the Europeans arrived. We're talking about, this is an artist's conception of one of the Mayan vessels that was described by Columbus. So these vessels were capable of traveling the whole continent. So they will go from Venezuela all the way to Florida, bringing up products from the Mayan civilization to different tribes. And it's too bad that none of these vessels was preserved. And it's amazing that not even the Spanish bother to draw them to show us what they really look like. The only evidence that we have is what Columbus wrote in his diary about his first encounter with the Mayans. So it's too sad, all the stuff that got lost. When the Europeans came here, the Mayan had the writing system which has been in use for thousands of years. So it's calculated when in the libraries there was an amount of 300,000 books that were burned by the Spanish, just because they wanted to make them into Catholics. And the loss for humanity is amazing. The price, what we have to pay, as a culture, and what humanity had to pay for this dumb thing that the Spanish did in burning all these books. If they would not burn all these books, we would need to crack this calendar. All the mysteries will be there. We can just go and open the pages and see how the calendar started, how these ideas of writing started. There was poetry, there was plays, there was everything for thousands of years. So bad that when the Spanish made the pile of books and burning, some of the elders throw themselves in the flames. Because they couldn't believe the Spanish would do this, because this is the legacy of all the elders for thousands of years. And this was a legacy for whole humanity. And they destroy it. And now it's up to us to try to piece it together and try to understand the calendar and understand where the Maya got all these things, So this is important to say. the whole civilization probably began with the invention of corn. A lot of you probably do not know, but the corn is the only staple in the whole planet that is artificial. Rice, it grows wild here and there. Wheat grows wild, so it got domesticated and converted by the cultures in the old world. Corn, on the other hand, was fabricated. It's an artificial staple. Somebody 10,000 years ago or something decided to mix some of the wild varieties of teosinte and other seeds and put them together and genetically somehow modify this to create the corn. The corn became the basics of all these Mesoamerican cultures. Without the corn, we don't have Mayan civilization. Because once a civilization began to produce so much food, everybody's eating, so then there is time for create science, for philosophers to gather together and start discussing the universe and creating all these things that we connect with civilizations, great civilizations. All these great civilizations, the Egyptians, they are all connected to wheat and some other big crops of the old world. And now we have the Maya. But the corn in South America was the potato, but they also had corn. The corn was invented in that area of Chiapas between Guatemala and Mexico, and that's somewhere in that area there. And the corn traveled from that area all the way to Chile and all the way to Canada. And somebody had to bring that corn with them. So that tells you how culture spread throughout the continent. Since there was no borders, there was nobody stopping people from traveling. The Mayan philosophy, the Native American philosophy is the land don't belong to the people. The land is the land, and we just have temporarily living in here. We don't own it. So this allow the cultures to travel and spread their ideas throughout the continent. With the corn, people started to gather, put plantations, as we saw. And well, I tried to put some of these pictures to exemplify, how the corn grew. How we know that the corn is artificial? Because you're never gonna find wild corn growing in the jungle. Corn is a kind of crop that depends totally on the farmer. The farmer has to be on top of it in order for it to survive, in order for it to thrive. It's dependent totally on the humans. So it's amazing. It's just a mystery to find out how this all began. And it began a long time ago. And like I said, we don't have the evidence, we don't know. But that's the kind of stuff that I like to talk about, the achievements of the Maya. Now I want to talk about the other achievement, which is amazing, which is the mathematical achievements. The Maya created what is called the trinary system. The trinary system, sorry about all this racket, and I want to apologize for all this cheesy kind of setup here, but I don't really have a place to stay, and so I go in places where they allow me to try to do these videos or something. And sometimes it's difficult carrying all these things around, and setting up and all these things. So, I give thanks to all these people that have helped me in this journey. And when I teach people about the Mayan culture, about the calendar, I don't charge. So I don't have an income per se. So, I will give him places to stay by different people, and the group of people that are like angels take care of me. So I just wanted to apologize for this if this stuff is too cheesy or too not so organized, but this is what it is, and I will continue teaching as far as I can. So we talk about the numerical system. The numerical system is called by the scientists a trinary system. It's called like that because they use three symbols. We got the bar, the dot, and the zero, which is represented by a shell. Why the shell? For the Mayans, the shell was very important in their ancestral ways because the shell was used by the artists and the writers like an inkwell. So they used it to put the ink and write. So it was like a magical thing. You know, this creature, they live in the ocean and he's dead but is still giving somehow life and stuff, expression of the arts and the writing. So the shell was an important thing and became the equivalent of zero. So you got these three symbols, and that's why it's called trinary. You got the binary system, which has got zeros and ones with the computers, and you got the decimal system. That is what the Western use. You know, the 0 to 9, it's 10 symbols. And when the Europeans arrived here at this continent, they still use the Roman numerals. The Roman system is flawed. It's no good to do math because it doesn't have a zero. And the church, the Vatican, fought, so they were not accept the zero from the Arabs, the India and all these places. The zero was trying to get into Europe, but they were not allowed by the Vatican because they say the existence of zero goes against the principles of the Bible. Zero cannot exist because God is there all the time. So you know, because when all the European books have these Roman numerals in it. And they were scandalized when they find the Mayans actually had the zero. And this is an example, a fast example. I'm running out of time in this thing again, but you know, we got the 1, 2, 3, 4, a 5 is a bar with a top is a 6, bar with 2 is 7, and this one is 8, and then you put another one is 9, 2 bars 10, and 3 bars and 4 is 19. How you move to the next level is you put the dot on top and the 0 on the bottom, and this one is equal to 20. So this is how they represented 20. If you want to represent 21, then you add up another dot. If you want 23, you put another, you know. So this is how they represented their numbers. Kind of, and you know, I'm not an expert to tell you, you know, because the Maya had a way to do multiplication and complex other mathematical things that we don't know how they did it because all that stuff got lost. We just know the basics. So for now, this is the closing of this number 3 session, and see you in the next session. Thank you.